Welcome back to Tea and a Butty. I'm Erica.
And I'm Erica.
No, you're not.
I am sometimes. You just don't know.
Don't lie to everyone, please. It's not a good relationship.
It's not a good look on me now. This is a language series, isn't it?
Yes, we're starting a new series today.
And this is all about different words and different meanings and...
Right, so we're going to
between America and Britain.
It's going to be like our food series.
Separated by a common language.
Each episode is going to be focused on a different aspect of whatever we're talking about. This one is language. And so this episode, we're going to talk about words that mean different things in America than they do in Britain.
We've got a
and
list.
Vice versa. Yeah, we have a list.
We've got a list here, yeah. And we're actually having a cup of tea now, actually, as we do this.
Tea.
So this is the Tea and the Butty podcast.
Can you hear it?
Clink.
Can you hear the tea?
Can you hear the tea being sipped? She's sipping it right now, people. Delicious. It's English breakfast for those of you, if you're wondering. So, yes. With a little bit of milk, and I'm converting her to taking milk.
I don't like my tea so milky.
I actually read it online somewhere that someone said, "Oh, I'm taking my tea stronger and stronger every day."
Oh yeah.
And when I was a kid, I used to dump milk in it. Everybody in Britain usually takes milk in their tea, milk and 12 sugars.
I don't know. I don't have anything against milk. I mean,
yeah, you do. Your mother doesn't like it at all, does she?
In the tea, not so much. No. Milk? No, she's not a big milk person. No.
Yeah, so it's just like blah,
Yeah, no, I like milk. I have milk in my cereal. I have milk with cookies, But it's just, I don't know. I just don't.
Funnily enough, when I was in play school, we used to have milk and biscuits. So
yeah,
there we go. So we did have cookies and milk. Very American. Okay, well, let's get crack on with this list then.
Okay, and this is a list that just Dominic and I made when we were driving in the car, I don't know, running errands one day. You don't think about it because we're both English speakers, America and Britain.
For the majority, yes.
Yeah, so you don't think, you don't realize how much language is very different in our two countries.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a culture thing too. I mean, there's the slang and all that, which we'll get into in a later episode. Mm-hmm. But, it's like, for instance...
Okay, so when we got together, and Dominic and I have been together for so long now, guys, that...
We've been together now for 40 years.
that I'm starting to forget the things that I didn't already know. I mean, I can remember sort of, but I don't know if I knew.
Slowly turning her British. I mean, I'm probably turning American too. Y'all.
So like in Britain, what we Americans call chips, they call crisps. That's like the first thing.
That's the first thing, yes.
Yeah, so we say, let's go to the store and get some chips. And it's like, okay, do you want them frozen or what?
Honestly, the first time I came here, and I think I did know the difference because we'd been talking on the phone, and you'd mentioned chips. Oh,
chips and dip,
chips and dip. That's what it is. And I was like, what, like gravy? Or curry sauce? What dip?
Ketchup? What are you dipping?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking. That's more what it was. I need some chips and for some dip, and we're going to have a sandwich and chips. And I was just like, oh.
Right.
I was like, what, like a cold sandwich and French fries? It's like, yeah, that's a bit weird. To me, that was a bit weird, but I mean, I've been living here so long now. It's not weird anymore.
Yeah. So you kind of, you start having this discussion, and then you're like, okay, you don't call chips, you call them crisps. Well, what do you call chips then? Well, we call chips French fries.
They're not French.
They're not French.
They're French cut. I think that's why they're called French fries.
Right.
Actually, I think fries, chips, whatever you want to call them, were invented in Belgium.
American chips are called crisps in Britain, but in Britain, chips are French fries. what we Americans call French fries. This is kind of confusing. This would work better on YouTube, I think.
Yeah,
we can put the words on the screen.
Put the words on the screen.
Yeah,
so
this
people
is
can
sort
follow along. And
this is
what are you talking about now?
Yeah, we're gonna have to be very careful, like talking about this in a.
So if you go to
podcast.
Britain and you say I'd like a bag of chips, you're likely to be taken to a fish and chip.
A chip shop.
Chip shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a chip shop, for those who are thing, is not somewhere that sells potato chips.
Lay's
potato chips. It sells like thick, fat French fries. Well, they should be anyway.
Yes. So then in Britain you have biscuits.
Oh yes.
Which are to us are cookies.
Yeah. Biscuits and cookies.
Yeah. Well, biscuits are what we call cookies.
Yeah.
Yes. So then we say, okay, well then what do you call biscuits?
And what do you mean by biscuits? That's because it's like, we call them biscuits.
Right.
There's no other there's no other
Right.
There's no other way.
So in America we have like biscuits and gravy you would have for breakfast.
Oh, it's like biscuits and gravy makes no sense to anyone in Britain. If you said that to someone, they'd be like, what? Digestives and
right.
Bisto.
Hobnobs with
Hobnobs and Bisto.
With brown gravy, delicious. No,
that actually might be delicious.
No, that's not
that we're gonna have to try that one day now. The next food series, we're gonna try weird things.
We really don't. The next thing on the list are crumpets, and I think we talked about this in an earlier podcast.
Crumpets, you call them English muffins.
We
right?
call them English muffins.
Because sometimes I'd forget what. It's weird because I forget what the term is that I used to use. And it's like, that's how you know you've been in America too long. When you're starting to forget what you used to say. And it's just like, I'm sure like people like Tori, for instance, one of our listeners, Tori Powell, everybody.
Hey.
She said, it's interesting being an American in the UK,
Mm-hmm.
I think she's fully assimilated into British culture now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. She may have not. She may still...
We will not assimilate.
Well, maybe not, because people probably still go, you're American. I mean, people obviously say that to me,
Yeah. Well, you are, aren't you? I mean, you're not American, but... But yeah, I think we told the crumpet English muffin story in an earlier podcast where... I wanted crumpets because I thought it was going to be some kind of delicious like dessert, and
no tea, just crumpets.
And you took me to the like bakery section or something of the grocery store, and I think it was
Asda.
I was just like, oh, these are English muffins. But we had English muffins for breakfast, didn't we? Mm-hmm. And they're not exactly the same as crumpets.
No, they're not. They're more like a weird type of scone. Because a crumpet to me has the little holes in the top.
Well, the inside of the English muffin has the little holes.
And it's got it's a different texture too.
Sort of. The crumpet is a bit more spongy. Yeah.
It's a bit more spongy. It's very weird. They're not my favorite personally. I'm not that British.
Okay, then do you prefer an English muffin or a crumpet?
I think I might prefer an English muffin actually.
It's got the outside. I mean the like crust, if you will, where a crumpet doesn't.
I think I might prefer an English muffin, actually, I mean, and it's the same thing with pancakes as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, the American pancakes are different to, like, British pancakes. Yes. I remember I made some for Erica once, and she was like, oh, these are like crepes. And do you want to tell that story?
Oh.
It was Shrove Tuesday, Pancake Day in the UK.
Pancake Day. Which should, in theory, be a delicious day. But not when you have granulated sugar and lemon juice on a crepe. I don't know. It's weird.
That was the traditional way. That's all we have in Britain.
It's weird. I don't know.
You obviously can put... That's the traditional way.
Squeezing lemon juice on bread, though, and it's like a thin bread, and then you bite into the granulated sugar. It's just like crunch, crunch.
I don't know. It's
weird.
It's something to me that's like... I shouldn't like it, because it's weird.
Right.
But I do. And maybe it's because I've grown up with it, I mean, every now and then, my parents would make pancakes on Shrove Tuesday. Not all the time, and it would be the thin style, squeeze some lemon juice, sugar on it, that's it. Bob's your uncle.
Right.
And it was okay to me, it was a little bit weird, the tanginess of the lemon juice and the sweetness of the sugar. But, nowadays people can make American-style pancakes and they can have maple syrup on them, which is like, that's my favorite.
Right.
That's my favorite way of eating pancakes. And, well, that's it. So that's the end of that story. Because you were going to talk, so I was just like, oh, better wrap this story up. That's all I wanted to say, everybody. Good night.
No, I was just going to say, and you could have those for pudding, which is our next word.
Pudding.
So in Britain, someone may invite you over for pudding. Like, okay, you don't want to come over. Why don't you come over to our house later for pudding?
Who invites people over for pudding?
I don't know. I'm sure my uncle said somebody invited him over for pudding.
They were crazy people.
And he
lived in the Priory or something.
And he thought it was going to be what we in America call pudding, which is more like what in Britain they call custard. It's like a thick.
It's like a
thick custard.
It's like a thick custard.
You can have it any
vanilla, chocolate.
Butterscotch, banana. Yeah, we have
banana pudding.
We have which I don't know if in Britain they do different flavors.
Maybe they do. I think they do. I think there's strawberry custard and
it's not like mousse.
Raspberry custard.
Mousse is different, but it's like a.
It's a creamy.
Yeah.
Custard, yeah.
But in Britain, pudding means dessert.
Yeah.
So. They invited him.
Or
over
you can
for
say
dessert.
Afters as well.
Afters.
I've heard people say that in Britain.
Okay.
I think I might have used what's for afters?
And for pudding in Britain, maybe if it's someone's birthday, you might have fairy cakes.
Yes.
Come over for pudding. We're having fairy cakes because it's Alice's birthday.
Now you've got to say it in a British
What
accent.
in God's name is a fairy cake, and why do British people have to make everything sound so stinking cute?
No, you've got to say, come over for pudding. It's Alice's birthday. We've got fairy cakes.
We got fairy cakes, yeah.
Fairy cakes, yeah.
So fairy cakes are cupcakes, basically.
Yes, basically. I mean, we use the term cupcakes.
Do you?
In Britain, yeah.
Everywhere I saw it, it was listed as fairy cake.
Well, I mean, that's just the traditional name for them because they were made originally by the fairies.
I'm assuming because of their size.
No, that is the truth.
Okay.
It's the truth. The fairies
End
created
of story.
them, and they gave them to Britain as a thank you for letting them live there.
And if someone does not invite you for pudding, they might actually invite you for the whole meal, and they'll say, come over to our house for tea tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I've seen that online, in like forums and stuff. I've seen people say, when I first went, I came over and my husband was, said, oh, we're going for tea at my parents'.
Right.
And she just threw on something, and she ate beforehand. And they went over there, and the house, and she was like, "Oh no, what are you talking about? I thought it was just tea, like cup of tea."
A cup of tea, yeah, that's what I would think too. Come over for tea,
And
I would think, oh, cute, the British tradition of
high tea
and biscuits or tea and little cakes or something.
Come over
cute.
come over for a cuppa is what British people would say. Come over for a cuppa.
Yeah.
Come and have a cup of tea, love. Sit yourself down.
But a cuppa, we don't always,
It doesn't translate.
No,
it's a
cuppa.
Cup of tea.
I'd be like, cup of what,
Cup of tea. Cup of cuteness.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
tea means dinner.
Yeah, tea means dinner.
Yeah.
And it was like the evening meal.
Supper, dinner,
Supper,
whatever.
yeah.
That's our next word, actually.
And it's funny because, she went over there and she was just like, oh, I've already eaten. And, they had like the table laid and everything. And then she was like, how do you know the difference? She was asking her husband then, how do you know the difference between tea and tea? And he was just like, you just do. It's
well,
just
who really invites you over for a cup of tea, though? You don't invite someone over just for a cup of tea.
Come and have a cup of tea and we'll have a chat. That's usually what people do.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to say a cup of tea, though. They're not going to say...
Come over for a cuppa. That's what it'll be.
Yeah.
Come on, I'll do you a cuppa. It's just like, I don't know. I was just gonna say something. It's like came out all weird. Maybe I need to drink my cuppa.
So our next word. Speaking of dinner, okay. So tea means dinner to us Americans, but dinner in Britain actually refers to lunch for most people.
Lunchies.
Did you eat your dinner? What did you eat for dinner?
School dinner. I say school dinners all the time. We're talking about school dinners, and it's just.
Why are you laughing? Because I'm like pointing the mic.
You're pointing the mic at me, so I feel like, yes, and I've taken LSD 4 times.
Oh, Beatles reference for you there.
Yeah, or a Ruttles reference would be I'm drinking tea right now. It's your responsibility not to print this now.
So one of my grandmothers used to call lunch dinner. So I think some people in America do.
It's an old-fashioned word. I mean, as
a dinner is
supper. It's old-fashioned. I used to hear my grandfather say this all the time.
Right,
to me.
right.
It's like, he would say that. He would say the bloody thing or the whatever.
Yeah. So another one is going back to Christmas and going back to the British cute things. And what is your obsession with fairies, actually?
Because fairies are cute, and they've lived in Britain for millennia.
Because it's fairy lights.
Fairy lights, yes. And fairies have lived in Britain for millennia.
And fairy lights to us are Christmas lights. They also in Britain call them twinkle lights, though.
Twinkle lights.
Yeah.
That's another cute little name for you, isn't it?
Pastry case.
Oh, God.
A pastry case is a pie crust. Other food, the sweets. To us in America, I think sweets can be just literally anything that's sweet. Oh, I've had too many sweets,
Sweets.
Could mean cookies. It could mean candy.
Sweets to us mean like chocolate and like, jelly babies. Jelly tots for another listener of ours.
HRH Elizabeth.
HRH Elizabeth, yes. The Queen listens to us. She's a big fan.
Then we have things like bum bag.
Fanny pack.
Fanny pack, yeah. You don't call it a fanny pack because in Britain a fanny is something different to what a fanny is over here.
Very different.
Yeah.
It's the front, not the back.
Right.
To be polite.
And then fags. Going out for a fag.
Yeah.
That means something different in America.
Yes,
something very different.
And, fag and the word faggot as well.
Oh, right.
They're offensive terms
in
over
America.
here. Yeah. And it's like they're not offensive in Britain.
Right.
They know. You hear people in Britain now using the word offensively, but it's just like, I laugh in their bloody faces. Because it's like, it's not an offensive word. A faggot is a meatball, and a fag is a cigarette. It's slang for a cigarette. I'm going out for a fag. Going out for a fag, hon.
Yeah. And no one knows why
it became an offensive word over here, because it sounds freaking stupid.
Why?
Funnily enough, we're going back to fairies. The fairy is what they used to call gay people in the UK.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do. It's outdated.
I think over here as well. Changing the subject now and onto some words that revolve around babies. The word dummy. A dummy in Britain is what we call a pacifier in America.
Oh, it's a passy.
Some people call it a binky, I think.
Yeah, binky over here.
Dominic and I have had this discussion because I don't understand why call it a dummy? Because they look like a little dummy when they have it in their mouth.
When they're in their mouth, yeah, because they're just sucking on it like, and you look like a dummy. You little dummy.
Okay, so not everything in Britain is cute. Okay.
Oh, it can be downright cruel.
Again, on the baby theme, a pram is what we call a stroller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pram.
Pram, yeah.
Yeah.
There's other words people call it. A push carriage.
Push chair.
Push chair.
Yeah, push chair. It's different. A push chair is a little.
Push chair to me sounds like it would be a wheelchair.
It's slightly different to a pram. A push chair, actually.
Okay.
Because like a pram is for like a tiny baby. It's like one of those things that the baby has to lie down in, and it has the hood and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then a pushchair is for like a toddler.
I think we call both versions strollers. I think so.
Strollers, yeah.
I'm not 100% positive on that. Nappies.
Nappies.
Yeah.
Diapers, yeah.
Nappies are what we call diapers, yeah. And then it looks like onto cars. In Britain, they have so many different names for cars. I don't know. I just found it really interesting.
For like parts of cars. You
know? No, for types of cars. So like
for the types of cars.
So like a minivan in America is a people carrier.
Yeah, a people carrier. Yeah, we were just watching that on Manhunt, and they kept mentioning a people carrier.
Yeah, they were looking for a people carrier.
Yes, and then like Ford Galaxy.
It's like, what exactly is a people carrier?
I mean, I don't know if they have the Ford Galaxy over here actually. But yeah, like a minivan. It's like it's designed to carry more people than just 4 or 5 people.
Right. Articulated lorry.
Which is like a semi-truck.
A semi-truck,
A semi-truck, yeah.
And then you have what we call a station wagon. You call an estate car.
Estate car, yeah. I mean, I don't know why these terms exist or why they started up, you know.
Yeah.
Station wagon sounds more old-fashioned, funnily enough, because it's like...
Station wagon, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it would be interesting to look up the origins of a lot of these words.
Because like an estate car is like, oh, it's quite big, you know.
I mean, I guess
quite long.
I guess it depends on who invented certain things.
Yeah.
What the correct word is, if you know what I mean. Like, who said it first.
Who said it first? Who invented this, called it that, and then someone said, oh, well, no, actually, I'm going to call it this.
I'm thinking a lot of our words were changed from the British terminology
just
to like assert our individuality.
Yeah, no, it was. I think it was. It was
but I think it,
like, you know, Benjamin Franklin and all them, you know, the founding fathers of the US did that on purpose, you know, just because I mean in Australia they
use some different words too.
They use some different words, yeah, but it's also much the same. It's much closer. But,
yeah.
You know, and maybe even in Canada too. I'm not too sure of that. We'll have to have Canadian and Australian listeners fill us in on that. Actually, I think Patrick is Australian, so if Patrick's listening, tell us what's what, mate.
Tell us which versions of these words you say. Yeah. I mean, I am curious about that. There may be some Americans out there too that are like, well, actually, I say fairy cakes too, or whatever, you know? So,
yeah, that's true.
I'd be interested to know that also. I think it probably also has to do with the fact that we have so many people from all over the world also. Yeah. Their languages influence what we call things.
Yeah.
And then probably some things are just going to be slang versions over time, maybe. And then that just became the norm. You know. The next word on the list is Lollipop Man. And again, with the cuteness.
Lollipop Man is a crossing guard over here.
A crossing guard. But crossing guard makes so much more sense.
It does, but also Lollipop Man came because of the stick he held. It looks like a lollipop. It looks
cute, like a lollipop.
Yes. It's got Stop Children written on it, and, you know, it's like a big lollipop. And he just stands in the middle of the road like that. You know, you can't see me doing it, but he's got his arms out. He's like,
yes. Uh-huh. And then we've got some vegetables just to go back to the food because everything goes back to food with us eventually. Squash. Well, this is actually, I think we skipped one. Actually, I think we skipped one. Oh. Let's do, to stay with the cuteness, with the Lollipop Man, fizzy drink.
Fizzy drink. Which is, what's that then?
Fizzy drink is what we call soda.
Soda!
But actually, a lot of people in America don't call it soda.
They call it pop. We used to call it pop in Wales, actually.
Okay.
Gonna get some pop. That's what I'm gonna do.
How is it again?
Gonna get some pop, I am. Lovely, lovely Panda Pops. Panda Pops was so good.
Panda Pops? That's a type of a drink?
It's a brand.
It sounds like a sucker to me.
Panda
like
Pops.
A lollipop.
It's what I used to get it in school when I was a kid. It'd be like these tiny bottles of like cola, blueberry juice, whatever, it'd be like fizzy orangeade, Panda Pops. I mean, British people my age will know what they are. I don't think they do them anymore. They might do. I'm not sure. But fill us in if they do Panda Pops. And send us a crate, because Erica wants to try them.
It sounds really cute.
Yeah,
but some people in America call them just Cokes, too.
Yeah, like that's generic term for everything. It's like it could be a Dr. Pepper, it could be a Sprite.
Let's go get some
Fanta.
Cokes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some Cokes, soda pop. Some people just say there's something else too, I'm thinking, but it's a big country, so there are variations.
It's a big country, yes, very big. I couldn't walk from one end to the other.
But then the next one is a drink also, although in America it's not a drink to us, and that word is squash.
Squash.
So tell us what squash is.
Squash is basically what we were drinking. Well, no, actually it's not.
No.
It's actually not Tampico. If any Americans know what Tampico is.
Blech.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was like. It's like undiluted drink. It's like orange. You can orange squash. I mean,
but is it actually juice, or is it like
it's concentrate? Yeah, I'm sure it is concentrate. It's from concentrate anyway, and it's just really thick, like juice, and you dilute it with water, and we call it squash because it's all squashed down into
squashed down. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Squashed.
That's why I'm like, oh yeah, like butternut squash over here.
Right.
But if you say squash, and I mean that term, I think I was reading on a forum actually. That term totally left my head. The term for squash. Someone was talking about, it's a squash, and I was thinking, is she talking about kielbasa or something like that? Like, because it was, I think... Kielbasa, whatever. Calabaza or, what's the other, butternut, all the other... Zucchini, yeah.
Yellow squash, yeah. We have endless amounts of squash in America.
People making fun of her for having this squash drink. Mm-hmm. And I was like, don't she just squash down some courgettes, and I totally didn't think about it. And then I was like, oh, squash is squash in Britain. It's a drink. Ugh.
Is it just orange?
I think it can be other flavors too, but orange is what they call it, orange squash.
Okay. And it just refers
Got some orange squash I have.
It just refers to a drink
that needs to be diluted,
okay.
Yeah. But we don't refer to Ribena like that.
We don't do too much of that.
Or Vimto.
Drink from concentrate. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so.
No, you don't. I don't think I've seen it.
Not so much, no. Yeah, that you have to dilute yourself.
We've got 1 billion of them. There's there's so much of it.
Interesting.
Store brands and everything, Mm-hmm. It's like aisle full of it.
So obviously, I already mentioned squash to us is a vegetable.
Yeah, calabaza, not kielbasa.
Yeah, two different things. Calabasa, zucchini, yellow squash, butternut squash, spaghetti squash. I mean, they just kind of acorn squash. We have a lot of squashes over here. I don't know, what do you call them then?
Courgettes.
I mean, but like acorn squash or butternut squash or anything?
I don't even know if we have it. I mean, I can't remember if we have that kind of...
Huh. Interesting.
Maybe we do. I mean, someone who's been to the grocery store recently and looked in the vegetable aisle.
Let us know.
Let us know. Yeah. In the UK, obviously, not in America.
Tweet, yeah. And guys, anything that we mention on here...
Tea and a Buddy. Or Tea Buddy.
T-Buddy.
T-Buddy on Twitter and Instagram. Mm-hmm. And with Facebook. Tea and a Buddy on Facebook. I don't know.
No, I think we're T-Buddy everywhere. And then the website is teeandabuddy.com.
Teeandabuddy.com.
Email address is the same, at Gmail.
At Gmail.
And then let anything that you hear us say that is like blatantly wrong, because it's going to happen and probably happen.
Because we get things wrong because we're human.
Let us know. Do let us know, and we'll give you a shout out or we'll just appreciate it in general being corrected.
And people who are listening, thank you so much for listening. It means a great deal to us that you actually listen to us rambling like this.
Yes.
And we hope to do it more and more for you as time goes on.
Yes. And we'll finish up here really quickly because
we know you need to get back to making squash.
We're hitting our time limit.
Yeah, we're running out of time. We need to put another 50p.
Courgettes, you mentioned.
Courgettes, yeah.
Courgettes are zucchini.
Zucchini, yeah.
Yeah. Which I think zucchini to me
That's
sounds
one of my
like...
least favorite vegetables, I've got to say.
They're delicious.
I don't hate them like I hate like avocado or something like that, you know, or eggs or something like that, you know, but I mean they're good in like a pasta sauce. But on their own they're just watery and kind of bland and wah.
And then we also have aubergine, which is eggplant.
Aubergine. Yes. Achille aubergine.
And
James Bond reference there for everyone.
And we also have, last but not least, and this is just, like I said before, the quick little list that we came up with off the top of our heads. So there's going to be many, many more words, I'm assuming. But these are some of the more common ones. And the last one on there is another vegetable, coriander, which is...
Oh, God, I forgot. Cilantro.
It's cilantro in America, yeah. Which I think cilantro is the Spanish word. I believe that coriander is coriander is the actual
name of it.
The actual name of it, and cilantro is the Spanish word for it, which makes sense.
Now coriander I do love.
Delicious.
It is delicious. I could eat that forever. And that's it. I think we're done.
Could eat it forever. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
As we said,
this is our language series.
This is our language series. Yeah, this is the first episode of the language series.
Episode 2 will be out shortly.
There will be more. Yes, episode 2 will be out on Monday.
Monday. And we thank you for listeing. And
yes, thank you.
Go check us out and come back to us and buy us a coffee and
tweet us, Facebook us, Instagram us.
Buy us a
coffee.
Buy us a cup of tea.
No pressure there.
There is pressure. If you don't buy us a coffee,
it should be buy us a cup of tea.
Very irate.
It should be tea. We don't drink coffee. Dominic drinks coffee.
Yes.
Buy Dominic a coffee then.
These un-American people that I live with that don't drink coffee.
But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.